Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the transit moon making a square, opposition, or inconjunct aspect to one's natal Saturn. Now, when you have transits that involve the moon, they can be about our emotions, our feelings, our needs, our reactions, responses, the public. And when you have the transit moon basically making an adverse aspect to natal Saturn, well, this may manifest in the emotions, the feelings, the needs, responses, reactions, um, the public, and that may conflict, those things may conflict with your responsibilities. It could be a situation where you simply don't feel like taking care of responsibilities or some work that has to be done or career related matters. Now, the thing is, I've said this in previous videos, but I'll say when you have the transit of the moon uh, making a square opposition or inconjunct to a natal planet or astrological energy, it doesn't last that long. If you're using, say, you're using a 3-degree applying aspect in 2 degrees separation. That's 5 degrees total. Um, the moon moves about 1 degree every 2 hours, so in about 10 hours that the transit will last. You do get them frequently though, because you got to figure. I mean, it takes less than a month for the moon to traverse all 12 zodiac signs. So I mean, you're looking at every month. I mean, you're going to have 5 of these aspects. Basically, you're going to have 2 squares to your natal Saturn from the moon. You're going to have an opposition, and you'll have 2 inconjunct aspects to it. Now, and so they're really not overly significant, but you still may feel something connected with it. Um, a lot of instances, though, you will be asleep when this happens, because remember the transit lasts just for 10 hours, and I mean, the most average person sleeps about 7 or 8 hours a day, so there is a chance you might at least be asleep for even part of the transit. So the thing about this is, though, this could also be about not feeling like what you're doing things matters with your career, or being overly ambitious with it. Say if your natal Saturn is in Scorpio, it could be a career connected like with locksmithing or working with the occult, which includes astrology, could be surgery, forensics, detective investigation work, working in some profession associated with the death, such as a mortician or funeral director, coroner. It's also, you might not feel like working laboriously at this time. This might be a time where you might actually prefer to be asleep or resting as opposed to working. Remember, the moon is associated with the unconscious. The unconscious can be associated with sleeping. Um, it could also be a situation too where the situation with the father might be it might be some negative emotions you might be experiencing from your father at this time, or dealing with older people, or uh, it could be authority figures as well. Maybe they're a little more emotionally taxing at this time, and it might be where you feel like the sympathy or empathy from these people may not be there. I would say, especially with an opposition aspect, because it's basically like the sympathy, the nurturing energy of the moon is far away from Saturn at that time, and Saturn again could be connected with the father, older people, authority figures. Now, Saturn is also connected with restrictions and limitations, and fears and inhibitions. It could be a time where you might feel inhibited in expressing your emotions, how you feel at this time. You may be emotionally distant. You might also be feeling somewhat alone and desolate at this time, and maybe seeing, there might be more negativity in how you feel as opposed to, um, positive energy at this time. And it might be that matters with your career might be emotionally taxing right now, in work that you have to do. It might be taxing you more on an emotional level than perhaps a physical level at this time. Now, Saturn can also be connected with sorrow, dejection, despondency. It can be a time where you might be feeling somewhat despondent at this time. Again, it could be feeling more negative, more so than usual, and maybe getting upset over the negative elements of something in your life. Say if your natal Saturn is in the zodiac sign Cancer and or the fourth house, it could be matters pertaining to your home and family life. At this time, you might be feeling more depressed or despondent about. Saturn is also connected with chronic debilitations. So these things might be a little bit more upsetting emotionally, more so than usual at this time. Say, if your natal Saturn is in Libra, as an example, it could be something with the lower back or the kidneys at this time, or it might be something connected with diabetes or hypoglycemia. As another example, natal Saturn is in Scorpio. It may be something connected with the colon, the bladder, the prostate, the groin, or the reproductive system. Now, Saturn is also, Saturn anatomically speaking, is associated with the skin, the bones, knees, joints, hamstrings. So it can be a time, if you're experiencing any issues with these at this present, at that time of the transit, it might be a little more emotionally upsetting and cause you to be a little bit, more, it's more of an emotional type of period for you perhaps, and it might bother you a little bit more so than usual at this time. And could also be, say if Saturn is in Taurus, it might be a very persistent issue with one of those things I just mentioned that is anatomically connected with the planet Saturn. Saturn is also connected with delays, and the thing about this is it might be you may be experiencing some minor delay in matters with a home or a family member, someone, a prominent female in your life scheme. It could be doing something with the public if you have to be somewhere and you're making some public presentation, as an example. It might be something that you might be experiencing a little bit of a delay in at this time. Now, Saturn is also connected with discipline and structure. So there may be more difficulty than usual in getting structure in your discipline, in your home, your family life. It could be matters with prominent women in your life scheme. It could be a situation with the mother in some cases, or a prominent family member. Now, another thing too, and say if Pisces is involved, it can be something where the home life may be more chaotic than it usually is at this time. Now, another way this may manifest and pan out, it could be a mother or a family member may conflict with your work, your duties, your responsibilities at this time. Say if Saturn is in Aquarius, as an example, it could be something with some work with astrology or computers, humanitarian work, or something with astronomy, innovation, electronics, altruistic efforts. It could be, or a family member may be conflicting with that at this time. Now, Moon is also connected with our past and our memories. So at this time as well, this may be expressed in past memories, may adversely affect. It could be your connection with your father, authority figures, older people at this time. Say if the transit moon is in Pisces, as an example, it could be some betrayal or deception or escapism, or even some matters pertaining to drugs or alcohol at this time. Maybe where the conflict may be. It could be some issues, at this time as well, emotions may require more of a laborious effort to be expressed at this time. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit moon is in Gemini, it could be about, manifold feelings about things and being excited about something, being very animated. That energy may be more difficult to convey or express at this time, more so than usual. If it's, say, if the moon is in the transit moon is in Sagittarius, it could be more exuberant, enthusiastic, and being very happy, jocular. That energy may be there, but it just might be more suppressed at this time than usual. Or it can be also too, this transit could also manifest in a possible blockage in the expression of the emotional needs. Hold on a moment, people. Now let's say, for example, the transit moon is in Taurus. It could be emotional needs connected with creature comforts. It could be gardening, cultivation, matters with accumulating possessions at this time. And you may be, again, reiterate what I said previously, you may be more dejected or despondent and melancholy than usual at this time. You might become more upset over a chronic debilitation. Take another example, say if Saturn is in Taurus, it might be some issue with the throat or the neck or esophagus at this time, or thyroid might be causing more emotional exasperation, being more upset emotionally, more so than usual. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.